There's an unwritten rule in Bitcoin. Never tell anyone how much you own. While most follow it and keep to themselves, there is one person in Bitcoin's history who has chosen to use their wealth to make numerous statements over the years, including a $1 billion Bitcoin bet. This is the story of Loaded, the Bitcoin billionaire and self-proclaimed whale eater. Loaded is a pseudo-anonymous individual who claims to be from the US. Their online history is short but rich, not shying away from sharing personal identifying information about themselves and their life. They first appeared in the space on November 28, 2012, under a Bitcoin Talk account of the same name, posting in a thread a signed message. "I'm definitely not a newbie. I own the address with 40,000 coins. Just don't want to reveal my identity." The signature was valid, and the address referenced did indeed contain 40,000 Bitcoin, valued at roughly $500,000 at the time. In another thread that same day discussing Mt. Gox's price action, users were speculating on the effects of the first ever reward halving. One writing, "Why does it feel like once the last 50 Bitcoin block gets mined, there's going to be a massive 100k dump? I can't shake the feeling off." Another responding, "It's because every time a majority thinks, this time it's going to moon because of X, it actually goes down. Like there's some rich dude who likes to troll us just for fun, and maybe make profit." Loaded interjected to their concerns with a second signed message, this time stating, "This guy isn't dumping. In fact, I'm almost done buying another 10k. True to their word, an extra 10,000 Bitcoin were later linked to Loaded in a January 2013 transaction. Although a message has never been signed directly from the address containing them, these funds have always been kept in separate wallets, but both have been observed to behave and move together in blocks. Loaded stated in another message that this 40k address is only for long-term holdings, and that the coins were purchased in large blocks from private investors at around $10 each, mostly for physical cash. Loaded would go on to have fun talking price and trading with other forum members at the time, until in a forum post dated February 15, 2013, they shared more insights on the full extent of their market position, writing, "The address below is approximately a quarter of my current holdings. The rest are constantly moving." It's hard to verify this claim beyond just taking Loaded at their word, although it would later become apparent, if true, that a portion of these coins are owned by clients, who are referenced numerous times throughout the years, as they also talk of brokering deals between other large players they have introduced to Bitcoin. Loaded's total holdings have fluctuated from post to post, peaking at around 200,000 Bitcoin in November 2013, and currently sitting at around 130,000 according to their last update in 2017, or around 0.62% of the entire supply, 70,000 of these coins being clients and 60,000 personal, meaning sometime between 2013 and 2017 they acquired another 10,000 coins, although it is never fully clarified how. There are numerous mentions of buying and selling on behalf of clients, but it is kept pretty vague, as a majority appears to have been conducted over the counter, although Loaded has previously hinted at being involved in prior market fluctuations. 2013 would turn out to be a busy year and a lot of fun for Loaded. When they were not partying or recovering from partying, they talked about deals to buy other major traders out and eating up other whales, including one they dubbed Bearish Manipulator 2. At one point, Loaded mentions purchasing a Bugatti with Bitcoin from a client. When asked to share photos, they responded, saying, "Unfortunately, this particular vehicle has a distinctive colour combination. Many of my clients are highly private people, and posting a picture would put them and our business relationship at risk." Loaded also stated that they attended the Bitcoin 2013 conference in March in their first public outing, as well as at one point offering to buy a corrupted hard drive containing 5,000 Bitcoins from another forum user. Loaded was quickly making a name for themselves as the resident bull whale, with one user speculating them to be the Winklevoss twins. Loaded responded saying, "I am not, but I have met them on several occasions. Pretty nice guys." Finally, Loaded topped off the year by getting arrested. Or so people thought. It in fact turned out to be another trader going by the same name in China. Loaded said in response to a story, "Please arrest me and throw away the key if I were to ever get that sloppy." Having started with $500,000 worth of Bitcoin at the beginning of the year, Loaded would end it with 50 million. Towards the peak, they reported an average daily gain of over $3 million. Not only had they predicted this publicly, but turned out in fact to be greatly conservative. Unfortunately for Loaded, it wasn't all perfect, as it later transpired they and their clients got partially caught up in the 2014 Mt. Gox insolvency, writing, "If anyone has real information on what's happening with Mt. Gox, please contact me. Any information that leads to the recovery of personal and client funds will receive a percentage. It was not sizable enough to warrant a flight to Japan, however it is sizable enough to ruin my weekend." For the next few years, as the long winter set in, Loaded mostly retired from public. However, we did get an AMA where they shared that Bitcoin wasn't their only investment. They also held a few thousand Litecoin and talked about buying Dogecoin. They also mentioned their investments in the ASIC miner IPO and how they made their money by investing in a large tech company before it became well known. January 19th, 2016. The scaling debate was just starting up, and Loaded, emerging from their hibernation, took to the RBTC subreddit with a post simply titled 150,000 plus Bitcoin between personal holdings and associates. We support a block size increase. These holdings were valued at roughly around $57 million, and the message was pretty blunt. The response was mostly positive, with a couple of people including Peter Risen, who would go on to be the chief scientist of the Bitcoin Unlimited project, welcoming Loaded back. Although there were plenty of questions asking for further details into Loaded's reasoning and if they had plans to sell any forked coins, there was no response, and it would be another year before Loaded would return. March 21st, 2017. The scaling debate is tearing the community apart. Clear sides have now emerged and battle lines have been drawn between Core and Unlimited, which would eventually become known as Bitcoin Cash. Loaded takes to Reddit one more time, with a post aimed directly at Roger Ver, one of the figureheads of the Unlimited project, with a signed message. It read, "At Roger Ver, let's make a deal, 1-for-1 trade. At least 60,000, possibly up to 130,000. My BTU for your BTC." The bet was valued at $143 million, at the time making it the largest in Bitcoin's history. It was also later extended to Bitmain's CEO Jihan Wu in another post. The offer is open to Jihan Wu as well. Consider it primarily as a vote of no confidence in the Bitcoin Unlimited software and development team as it currently stands. I'll add the contingency that the deal is null and void if there are major changes to either. Explaining the rationale behind the move, Loaded stated, "From my perspective at least, this is not a bet. It's a business transaction. My motivations are 90% profit and 10% because I do not foresee BU as it exists today succeeding, with the lack of code review and still unsolved economic consensus divergence. Nothing prevents a miner from switching to the core chain and orphaning the entire BU chain if it becomes profitable to do so. As for big versus small, I supported 2 megabytes last year when there was no working implementation of the Lightning Network. Today, SegWit plus the Lightning Network appears to be ready to go. I believe that the Bitcoin Unlimited miners are not looking at the bigger picture. On-chain fees can continue to rise even while a larger number of transactions move to the Lightning Network. There is no issue paying a $10 fee to open a reusable channel, while the same fee for a single transaction is extreme. SegWit already offers 2 megabytes. The only divergence seems to be where the signatures are stored. While a majority of people were drawn to the drama, excited about the prospects of seeing 2 titans of the space bet potentially hundreds of millions over the future of Bitcoin, one user going by the name Question Authority was curious as to why Loaded was looking to take such a stand, saying, "Let me ask you a question, just to satisfy my own curiosity and discover the reason for your recent business transaction proposition to Ver. You are Loaded. I assume you live in a beautiful home with all the modern appointments. Surely you must have fine automobiles at your disposal and take worldwide vacations with the same frequency that other people change their underwear. In essence, you want for nothing. Your stake in the business transaction you're proposing is worth upwards of $60 million. With that kind of money, why would you not simply cash out and retire and enjoy everything the world has to offer? Instead, you leverage your millions to prove a point? I don't get it. Loaded responded. Why does anyone with a high net worth continue to work? I'm in it to protect and grow my investment. I am only entering this from a win-win-win perspective. If a fork occurs as things are, the vast economic majority is with core, and those coins will be more valuable. Win. If it pressures BU into not forking, win, because the combined value of the post-fork coins is very likely to be below the pre-fork value. If it pressures BU to make improvements, I reserve the right to re-evaluate the transaction. Win, because at least the combined value will be higher. While there was never a response from Jihan Wu, Roger Ver, upon hearing the offer, responded in his own message on the forums, stating, "This sounds like a great deal for both of us. I look forward to ironing out the exact details and terms. I'm super busy for the next 48 hours, but would love to connect after that." According to a message from Loaded posted 3 days later, on the 24th, they had yet to receive contact, and unfortunately, this would be the last we heard about the bet from either party. Come the day of the August 1st hard fork of 2017, Loaded was issued a confirmed 50,000 BCH, valued at 1 to 200 million around the peak. Looking back over the movement of these coins, they would eventually be split into smaller blocks of 5,000, suggesting they were later sold over the counter to private buyers. A final statement and show of confidence in the direction of Bitcoin development. In 2017, Loaded's holdings were worth over $1.1 billion, putting them into an elite club of Bitcoin billionaires. This is also the last time we would hear from them, but to this date, they have stayed true to their word and continue to hold on to the 50,000 Bitcoin, most recently moving them into a native SegWit address for a $1 fee. It appears for Loaded that actions do speak louder than words, and this likely isn't the last we will hear from them.